My name is Brian Claypool, B-R-I-A-N, Claypool, C-L-A-Y-P-O-O-L. I'm the owner of the Claypool Law Firm in Pasadena, California. For those of you who don't know me, I'm one of the lead lawyers on the Miramonte child abuse case. I currently represent 15 kids in that case and 23 parents. But the reason why we're here today is because there is a 7-year-old little girl in Orange County who needs dire help. She has been subjected to alleged child abuse with her father now for over 15 months. And enough is enough with the Orange County Child Protective Services.
When my dad was here, he used to touch me in my private parts, and he put his penis between my private parts, and I didn't like it, and I was too scared to tell him to stop because I was scared that he was going to hit me and yell at me because he's done that before.
Before I get into the details as to what we want to have happen today, I'm just going to tell you a quick story to put this in the proper context. I'm the single father of a 7-year-old little girl as well, and that's what broke my heart when I got called into this case for Ruby Dillon. And 2 days ago, I went to pick my little girl up from a day camp out near Pasadena, and she ran up to me and she said, "Oh, Daddy, there's going to be a sleepover tomorrow night at the day camp. Can I go?" And I said, "Honey, let's talk about it later, but I don't think it's a safe thing for you to do." She started crying, put her in the car, got home with my little girl, and I explained to her for 45 minutes, and I told her a little bit about Ruby Dillon's daughter. And I explained to my little girl, I said, "Honey, at your age, I just don't think it's safe to be doing a sleepover at a day camp where I don't know any of the counselors, and I'm afraid somebody might hurt you or harm you." So fast forward to later that night when we pray every night. And when we were praying that night, my little girl came up to me and she said, "Daddy, I want to pray to Jesus and thank him and thank you for protecting me." She said, "Thank you for keeping me safe." That's what my little girl told me. Now, I'm here to tell you that Ruby Dillon's little girl has been crying out the same words, "Please protect me," for nearly 17 months now. And the Orange County CPS has done everything in their power to not protect this little girl from being sexually molested.
I didn't want to be away from my mom, and I barely got to see her now. All I want is to be with her.
We are here today to demand that the Orange County CPS, by 5 o'clock today, go and remove Ruby Dillon's little girl from her father and reunite her with her mother. These folks have till 5 o'clock today to get it done, or else I am demanding a criminal investigation and prosecution of the folks who run Orange County CPS, because this letter that I sent the director, Michael Riley, puts the Orange County CPS on notice as of 2 days ago that the Tustin Police Department has concluded, based on their comprehensive investigation, that the father of this little girl should be prosecuted for 6 felony counts of child abuse.
I just don't want to see him. I don't want him to do these things anymore, and I really wouldn't mind if I didn't see him.
They are outlined in this letter, and make no mistake about it, these are serious, serious allegations of sexual abuse on a 7-year-old. One of them is anal penetration. One of them is continued sexual abuse. The Tustin PD has told the Orange County District Attorney, you need to prosecute the father of the little girl.
He pulled down his underwear and mine, and he'd rub up against me, and I was just too scared to do anything. That he'd just start yelling and hitting me, and I didn't know what to do.
Now the second step is Orange County CPS is now on notice of the Tustin PD saying, you need to prosecute this man. And I'm here to tell you that based on that information, the Orange County CPS has an affirmative obligation to protect this little girl and immediately remove her from what is an obvious dangerous situation. And the reason why we are requesting that is because for years the Orange County CPS has not only stolen little girls from their mother like Ruby Dillon, but they have obstructed and interfered with the criminal prosecution of suspected child predators. Orange County Child Protective Services worker did. It is intolerable and unacceptable is he failed to disclose to the court in February of this year evidence that would have clearly led to the judge saying, remove that little girl from this dangerous setting and reunite her with her mom. He failed to provide reports to the judge from independent child psychologists who validated that the reports of abuse by this little girl were truthful, that they were credible. He refused to turn that information over to the judge because of one thing, because of this, because of money. It's money. The Orange County Child Protective Services wouldn't get any of this if that little girl was taken away and given back to Ruby Dillon. The file's closed, and guess what? There's no more money for the Orange County CPS. It would be gone. That's their motive for allowing a little girl to remain in a situation where she is potentially being sexually abused. And one more thing that this Orange County Child Protective Services social worker did in February. It's reprehensible and criminal. He tells the judge, by the way, if there are any future phone calls that come in reporting suspected child abuse of Ruby Dillon's little girl, guess what? Those phone calls should be rerouted to my phone. That's right. Orange County CPS is now acting as the judge and the jury as well. Well, that violates the law. The phone calls for future child abuse can't go to the Orange County Child Protective Services social worker. That violates the law. The phone call has to go to law enforcement. Well, guess why he doesn't want those phone calls to go to law enforcement? It's right here. This is why the gentleman from the Orange County Child Protective Services said all future calls should go to me. Because when the Tustin PD got a hold of all this, they did the right thing. They investigated it. They interviewed the little girl. There was a cast interview done, twice, of a little girl, validating her claims of child abuse. There's medical evidence of the child abuse of this little girl that was provided to Orange County CPS. All of that was provided to them. They didn't want to do anything about it. And guess what they did? It gets worse than that. 2 times, Tustin PD went in and rescued this little girl, to their credit. They rescued this little girl twice in the past year on an emergency basis, removed her from the father, put her into a local clinic here, and they expected the Orange County CPS at that point in time to join with them to reunite the little girl with her mom, Ruby Dillon. What did they do on those 2 prior occasions? They blocked and obstructed the efforts by Tustin PD to remove the little girl and return her to her mom. Yes, Orange County Child Protective Services has aided and abetted the commission of child abuse on this little girl. They have facilitated child abuse being committed on a little girl. They have harbored a suspected child predator. And I can't believe that since the Gabriel Fernandez death with the Los Angeles County Child Protective Services, where a child was in need of help and there were red flags all over creation saying, this child needs to be removed from that family, and Gabriel Fernandez wasn't removed, he ends up dead. We have a little girl now who has been sexually molested for who knows how many months and years. And again, we have a social services agency doing nothing to intervene and protect this little girl. So I will conclude by telling you once again that by 5 o'clock today, the Orange County Child Protective Services needs to put up or shut up. And they need to get their butts over to that little girl's place where her father lives and remove her and reunite her with her mom, or I will go to my grave fighting for criminal prosecution of every member of the Orange County CPS who has refused to protect this little girl in the face of known sexual abuse allegations as documented by the Tustin PD against this little girl. I'm not sure the Orange County District Attorney's Office has had enough time to process the investigative file that was turned over by the Tustin PD. I think they've had it for about a week or so right now. But we are also here today to implore the Orange County District Attorney's Office to immediately prosecute the father. And maybe, and that's a great question, it shouldn't take but a day or so for the Orange County DA to make a determination based on these 6 felony counts that the Tustin PD is recommending that this gentleman be prosecuted for child abuse. So we're hoping that within the next week or two that the Orange County District Attorney's Office heeds the recommendation of the Tustin PD and undertakes immediate prosecution of Ruby Dillon's little girl. Ruby Dillon, by the way, is the most model mom you've ever seen on the planet. She is a professional woman. She's a dentist, practicing dentist. She's a model soccer mom. She was involved in every aspect of her little girl's life. She has no prior criminal record. She has no unpaid parking tickets. And yet CPS came in and basically kidnapped her little girl.
She told me before she left, when this aunt came, that this aunt was just coming to take me out of the country and to take me to Thailand. And what I'm really scared is that they're just going to take me back to him. And I didn't see my mom for 1 week, and I was scared that I wouldn't get to see her. I'm always scared, and I don't know who to turn to or what to do anymore. I mean, like, I barely see my mom, and now I haven't been seeing my therapist, and she was the only one who really understood me. I don't know what to do anymore. I mean, like, I feel like whatever I say, it's just like, no one ever listens to me. And I used to tell my minors counsel what he would do, and then she would just go tell my dad right away, and he would yell at me and scream, and he'd grit his teeth, and he always scares me, and I don't want to go back to him. I just want to be with my mom. I didn't want him to hit me or yell at me. He always used to grit his teeth, and it scared me, and I was too scared to do anything. As long as I can remember, I cry myself to sleep every night, and I don't even know how I sleep at all, but sometimes I don't. And school is like, I like to go to school because it's like I can get away from there. I just don't want to be there anymore. I didn't want to be away from my mom, and I barely got to see her now. All I want is to be with her. No, I'm not allowed to have play dates or sleepovers. I don't want to go through this anymore, and I just want to be with my mom. I just don't want to see him. I don't want him to do these things anymore, and I really wouldn't mind if I didn't see him. I just want a normal life.
It's making it okay. This has been hard for me. I know that. I know that. I can't stand it. I'm not going with him.
Let go, okay? You have to let go. Okay, I'm sorry, but you have to let go. Okay? Alright, just sit here. I'm not hurting her. I'm just trying to,
Yeah, small child, I kind of don't want her to get hurt.
Well, no, we're not going to hurt her.